How confident do you feel about the passive in English? Let's study it together today. Hello, I'm Shona and I run the website Perfect English Grammar. We help millions of students every month improve their grammar and their English. An active sentence like I drank 2 cups of coffee has the subject first, followed by the verb, and finally the object. In my example, the subject is I, the verb is drank, and the object is 2 cups of coffee. But we don't always want to make sentences this way. Sometimes there's a reason to emphasize the object by putting it first, or perhaps we don't want to say who did something. In this case, we can use a passive. 2 cups of coffee were drunk. We can also say by me if we want to, but it isn't necessary. In this case, 2 cups of coffee goes at the beginning of the sentence. We make the passive by putting the verb to be into whatever tense we need, any tense is okay, and then by adding the past participle. Let's go through the tenses. Present simple. I make a cake. This is the active sentence. A cake is made by me. This is the passive. Present continuous. I am making a cake. The passive is a cake is being made by me. Past simple. I made a cake. A cake was made by me. Past continuous. I was making a cake. Passive, a cake was being made by me. Present perfect. I have made a cake. The passive is a cake has been made by me. The present perfect continuous. And this one is less common, but it's still possible. I have been making a cake. The passive is a cake has been being made by me. Past perfect. I had made a cake. A cake had been made by me. Future simple. I will make a cake. A cake will be made by me. Future perfect. I will have made a cake. A cake will have been made by me. Some verbs that have 2 objects can make 2 different active sentences, and so they can also make 2 different passive sentences. Let's look at the verb give. The active sentence could be, he gave me the book, or he gave the book to me. You can choose either of the 2 objects to be at the beginning of the passive sentence. So we can say, I was given the book by him, or the book was given to me by him. Other verbs like this are ask, offer, teach, tell, lend, promise, sell, and throw. You can make the passive in a subordinate clause like this. An active sentence is, I thought that Mary had kissed John. To make the passive in the subordinate clause is Mary had kissed John, we say, I thought that John had been kissed by Mary. An active sentence is, he knew that people had built the church in 1915. A passive in the subordinate clause, he knew that the church had been built in 1915. You can also make the passive using a passive gerund or a passive infinitive in the same place as a normal gerund or infinitive. The passive gerund is being and the past participle. A passive infinitive is to be and the past participle. The child loves being cuddled. So the child loves it when other people cuddle her. She would like to be promoted. She would like someone else, the boss, to promote her. Being cuddled is the passive gerund. To be promoted is the passive infinitive. When should we use the passive? These are some situations where you might choose the passive. And the passive is never an obligation. It's always a choice. It tends to be a little bit more formal than an active sentence, not always, but sometimes, and it is more common in written English. The first use, when we want to change the focus of the sentence. If we say, the Mona Lisa was painted by Leonardo da Vinci, we are more interested in the painting, which comes first, rather than the artist in this particular sentence. 2. When we don't know who or what did the action. It could also be people in general. He was arrested, obviously by the police. My bike has been stolen. I don't know by who, so I'm not going to say by somebody. The road is being repaired. It's not important in this case who exactly is repairing the road. I just want to tell you that you can't go that way. The form can be obtained from the post office. A very formal sentence here, and it means anybody can get the form from the post office. 3. We use the passive in factual or scientific writing. The chemical is placed in the test tube. 4. In formal writing, instead of using someone or people or they, we often choose to use the passive. The brochure will be finished next month. We don't say exactly by who. 5. We use the passive in order to put new information at the end of the sentence to improve style. So 3 books are used regularly in the class. The books were written by Professor Bell. So when we say the books were written by Professor Bell, it flows more smoothly because first we're talking about the books, then we have the books at the beginning of the sentence, and then we have Professor Bell, who is the new information coming at the end of the sentence. Professor Bell wrote the book sounds more clumsy in this case. And 6, we use the passive sometimes when the subject is very long. In English, we like to have the verb near the beginning of the sentence, if we can. And so sometimes when the subject is very long, we change the sentence around to put it at the end. I was surprised by how well the students did in the test. This is more natural than how well the students did in the test surprised me. I hope you found this useful. Please do subscribe to the channel and also click the link in the description for your free passive exercises.